Okay, so we are here this afternoon with Daniel Newman, who was kind enough to come to our office and meet with us to talk about what he's up to, what he's speaking about. He flew in from Chicago and he's going to fly out shortly, so wanted to just do a quick little interview with him. He's an entrepreneur and best-selling author and actually has a new book coming out in September, so let's start there. What's the new book about?
Well, first of all, before I even pitch the book, Windsor, Connecticut,
Yes,
just one of those places on my list. Had to visit
had
it.
to visit, right?
So
We're
everyone out
actually
there,
the oldest town in Connecticut, just so you know.
see,
Yep.
everyone out there, oldest town in Connecticut, Windsor.
Yep.
I've been there. Have you? All right. Now,
Yes.
Future Proof. So the new book is called Future Proof, and if you've read my last book by chance, Building Dragons, it was about digital transformation in the
Yep.
experience economy.
Mhm.
I basically believed we needed to take it one level further. And because so many companies are focused on digital transformation, how do they transform? But I often hear, how do we prepare ourselves for the future? How do we become future proof? And so we set out to write the book that would basically define what the companies that are most successfully digitally transforming are doing. What are the consistencies? What are the commonalities? And so we basically identified 7 pillars.
Oh, okay.
And so the book, we cover the 7 pillars. Of course, technology is mixed into it, but we also talk about things like leadership, culture, innovation, just all these different things that companies are doing to get there and to stay there. Because that's what's really going on now. So much of the data is saying 75% of the S&P 500 today will no longer exist by 2025. You're seeing stats like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So these companies have to figure out, how do they survive for the long run.
So is the book geared more toward leaders of an organization, or pretty much anyone who wants to know, even an entrepreneur, a small company? I mean, it sounds like it's probably good for anyone who wants to be thinking ahead to stay in the game.
Yeah, I would say when we wrote it, we really targeted those leaders inside of organizations, but I don't know that size is as important as the role.
Mm-hmm.
Because we do believe transformation is people first.
Yes.
And so companies that understand putting people ahead of technology, ahead of process, is going to be the right route. It could apply to almost any business. The case studies, the examples, the research are often more mid and large enterprises, partially just because that's what data's out there.
Yeah.
That's what information's out there.
Mm-hmm.
But also, anecdotally speaking, a Disney, an Apple, a Google, those are really interesting stories, but a lot of the findings with those companies can be applied. It's not always things that are only scalable for companies with 10 and 11 zeros in the bank account. These are things that any company can do. For instance, just focusing on what type of experience and why putting people ahead of technology are critical. Whether you're a small company running PayPal for your payment system and using GoDaddy for all your email and hosting, the same thing, you still have to be an experience-focused company. It doesn't matter what size you are. So that kind of knowledge can translate for any reader who picks up the book.
Okay. That's great. And mid-September, you said it's going to be
September 12th.
September 12th. That's a launch date. Great. Talk to me a little bit about what you're seeing out there when you're, I know you talk to a lot of diverse kinds of audiences and companies. You do a lot in tech, but you also do some in financial service and healthcare and other industries. Is there anything that's just you're hearing or seeing over and over again that people are just craving for information from you? I mean, you do talk about the future, you do talk about disruption, you talk about technology. Does there seem to be any common theme amongst industries that you're seeing?
Yeah, I think the common theme is, okay, we get it. We need to change, we need to transform. How do we do it?
How do we do it?
How do we do it? Our company is 100 years old, and we've done things like this for the last 20 years with no change. And suddenly we're being asked to change at a breakneck pace.
Yep.
What are the ways to start? What are some things we can focus on? What is your research saying? What did you find when you were writing the book? And putting a lot of that into some semblance of an order, where a company can say, well, here's where we are in terms of the transformation journey. Here's where you need to be. Here's what it's going to take to get there. So I think the why, which is always one of the most important things in any business's journey of why you exist, but they all understand why we need to transform because of the changing market forces, changing customer needs and demands, and the rapid proliferation of technology. So everyone agrees on it.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone has figured out how to do it,
How to
and
do
so that's keeping me really busy.
Busy. And lastly, I just want to quickly say, I know you always come out with the top 10 trends or something like that. Don't exactly know what you call it, but I know that's going to be coming out soon too.
Yeah, so we do, I do a series of trends posts. It really goes back to a story of identifying that posts and articles that are in a list format, also known as listicles,
Okay.
tend to resonate best with
Mhm.
people. The short long story is 6 years ago I launched a website called 12most.com, and every article on the site started with 12 most something, and it didn't take a month to drive 100,000 page views a month to that site. It just went to show people loved consuming content in a list format. And over the last several years, in the areas I focus on, which has been digital transformation, marketing, tech, things like that, I've invested heavily in using list formats to try to set the tone with some predictions.
Okay.
So I basically, right now, I'm doing a series of top digital transformation trends by industry.
Okay.
But once a year I do it for the whole digital transformation umbrella.
Okay.
And so my top 10 trends will come out in September
Okay.
on Forbes.com. And
Okay, I was going to ask.
yeah,
you.
you'll find it on Forbes. And
Okay.
it'll get syndicated all over the internet, and there'll be graphics and little ebooks and slideshows that you'll be able to
Fantastic.
check out. And hopefully these trends will set the stage for a lot of businesses' digital transformation agendas this year. And of course, maybe they'll be inspired enough to call me up so I can talk a little more about it at one of their events.
At one of their events, absolutely. Well, that definitely your information, your topics, certainly the trends are very much on everyone's mind. So we certainly hope to be getting those calls as well. So thank you again for coming in. It's been great spending time with you, and I'm going to let you go catch an airplane.
Thank you so much, Diana. It's been great.